Well, hello there, my friends, and thank you for coming back and joining me for another Let's Read Druthers. This is fast becoming, I mean, this is obviously one of my favorite, if not my favorite, publication of all time. I love truth, freedom, love, all things that are promoted by Druthers. I thought they had that on the front here, but I'm not seeing it anymore. Truth, love, freedom. Not sure why they've removed that caption, but this is just one of the many reasons why I love Druthers. Again, I'm not affiliated with them. I feel like I have to say this every time as a disclaimer. I'm not affiliated with them at all. I'm just a very big fan, and again, I say this every time, but it's so true. I will support you no matter what. If you're a proponent, if you're an advocate for change, for positive change, for truth, love, and freedom in the world, I am with you, and I will support you. That's why I'm behind Druthers 100%. So today we're going to look at some good news. I love this. I love this segment because we need more good news in our lives. There's a lot of doom and gloom out there. There's a lot of stuff where it's like, it's upsetting, it's depressing. We can't, stick our heads in the sand and shy away from the truth of the matter. But it is upsetting. It weighs heavily on our souls and our consciences. So it's nice to read some good news. Man, this was a good article as well. Canada as a crime scene. That was a really good one. There's so many good articles in here. I noticed in the August edition that my friend Bev McDonald has written a new article. I'm very excited to read that. And I think I might do a Let's Read just for her article because I love the stuff that she writes. I love a lot of these artists that are authors. They're artists too. But Shawn and his team, they do a wonderful job of finding just the perfect articles written by the perfect people that are just speaking the truth, love in their hearts, and their light, they're shining lights in the world that we should all emulate. And that's why I love reading this paper because a lot of the times, yes, it is upsetting to read certain articles, but other articles, it's balanced out in that I feel so inspired and I feel so motivated after I read these things. And Bev McDonald's articles, especially, are just, they resonate with me so deeply. But today is going to be fun because we're talking good news tidbits. I put a smile on my face just reading that. Good news tidbits. Oh, yeah, here we go. And just like before, I'm going to try not to inject my opinion as much to stop us between all the bullet points here, just so I can say a few words. We're going to kind of cruise through it, and then if I have something to vent at the end, I'll save it for at the end. But being that this is good news, I should have only positive things to say, right? We'll see. All right, so good news tidbits. What's going on in the world? What's the good stuff going on? Federal government moves to delay MAID, M-A-I-D, I'm not sure what that is, for people suffering solely from mental illness. I'll have to look that one up. I'm not sure what MAID is. I'm not current with that. If you guys know, let me know in the comments what that means. Federal government moves to delay MAID for people suffering solely from mental illness. I could look it up real quick, but I just want to cruise through these here. Here's a second one. A Texas-based federal judge has mandated that the FDA must disclose all data pertaining to the COVID-19 vaccines from Pfizer for the 12 to 15 age group, as well as Moderna for adults. This is setting good precedents, good case law here. This notable judicial directive is associated with a lawsuit initiated by parents, of course, whose child suffered adverse reactions following the COVID-19 shot. And good for them for actually following through with that. The judge, make them accountable. The judge highlighted transparency as critical in his directive, stating, "Democracy dies behind closed doors." The FDA's initial proposal suggested a 23.5-year timeline, 23 and a half years for the data release, while the judge's mandate calls for a complete data disclosure by June 2025. That's still a long time to wait, but that's better than 23 and a half years. A lot of those people who are affected are going to be dead by then, for real. This is the second time a federal judge has ordered the FDA to expedite its COVID-19 vaccine data release. The second time? That's it? Anyway. The World Health Organization finally recommends against using non-sugar substitutes, including aspartame. We all knew that there was something wrong with aspartame, that it wasn't good for us. Here's the proof coming out. As outlined by Dr. Russell Blaylock, an expert in the field, there are over 500 studies 500 studies that clearly identify aspartame as being one of the most dangerous yet widely available substances, linked to a whopping 75% of the adverse reactions to food additives as reported to the FDA. Gosh, when you think about all those foods and products that have aspartame, from the sodas to the chewing gum to anything where they want to put a sugar substitute in it, the default was aspartame for the longest time. And only now in 2023 are they realizing what we already knew, which is that it's not good, that you're better off just using raw cane sugar and just deal with the effects of sugar versus some chemical that's fooling your taste buds. And it's crazy. Crazy. After the public voiced suspicions of arson, and an RCMP news release reported that police believe some fires were intentionally set. No shit. The Alberta government has finally announced that it will hire outside arson investigators. Oh, thank goodness you've decided to do that for us. It's almost like you didn't think there was a problem. 2 more to go. Wow, we're breezing through these because there's unfortunately not as many. Meta, we're all fans of Meta, right? Which owns Facebook and Instagram, announced on June 16th that it will be scaling back its controversial and damaging COVID-19 misinformation policy in the coming weeks. Meta CEO Mark Zuck also admitted that Facebook's censorship policies censored truthful information and undermined credibility in institutions. As he put it, it really undermines trust. Sorry, Mark, but no one is looking to you for trust or truth of anything. So do what you will, the damage is done. In the heat of censorship plea, last one, by the way. In the heat of censorship pleas from the Malaysian and Brazilian governments, the app Telegram has announced it will not participate in political censorship and will not cooperate with any government to take down political content. Good for you, Telegram. That almost makes me want to get back on that platform. I stopped using it some time ago because I didn't believe in what they were claiming as far as everything being as encrypted as it was, and them protecting their clients' confidentiality and personal information. I might change my stance on that now that I've read that. I'll obviously need to do more research to see if that's actually true or not. But quite honestly, instant messaging apps are not a thing that I use very much anyway. More of an email guy. I guess that speaks to my age. I guess people in my age group, Generation Xers, are emailers, and the new generation doesn't understand that. I don't do Facebook either. I don't do Twitter. I don't do Instagram. I do YouTube, and that's about it. I have Discord. That's it. That's about it. Discord mostly for video games and talking with friends. I have no reason to really use Telegram, but I might change my stance on it, specifically because of their reaction to this, and I'm quite pleased. I'm quite happy with the way they've defended their stance and their obligation as this corporation to maintain that free speech. And certainly in a private setting, the government has no business in anything private. So, let alone an instant messaging program that's supposed to be all secure and encrypted, and yeah. So yeah, I might start using it again. So I mean, here we go. Like less than 10 minutes, we've gone through all the good news tidbits. It'll be a short video, but it illustrates the just the disproportionate imbalance of how much bad news there is right now in the world versus the good news. At least in a publication like this, right? Now, if I really wanted to open my eyes to the beauty in the world and all the good things going on and all the beautiful people and all the beautiful things that those beautiful people are doing, it's not very hard to find examples of good news or positive things happening in our world. But unfortunately, when you read publications, Druthers is no exception to this. You know, people generally will want a mixed bag, if you will, of not necessarily doom and gloom, but they want the good with the bad, right? You can give me a little bit of everything. It's like when somebody says to you, "I've got good news and I've got bad news." Okay, well, give me the good news first. I want to hear the good stuff first, and then we'll talk about the bad news. Someone else might say, "I want to hear the bad news first, and we'll end with the good." I don't think it matters which one comes first, right? Just like when we do absurdity observer, good news tidbits, it doesn't really matter which one comes first. I think the importance there is that we're balancing the two and realizing that yes, there's problems in the world that we need to address, that we need to solve, that we need to work together on. There's also really good stuff going on. There's also a lot of progress that's been made. Like, let's not fool ourselves or forget all the wonderful positive things that are happening in the world. People are waking up. People are having more and more people anyway are having a spiritual awakening, and that's only lending itself to more good news and more positive things and more you know um, optimistic outlooks. And I firmly place myself, even though I have my negative moments like anyone else, I firmly place myself in the camp of what can we do to better the situation, to better life on earth, to better the quality of life, to suppress those those oppressive forces, to counter the evil that's coming into the world with love, right? If we're representatives of the good, forget these so-called representatives that want to sit in their cultish buildings. With their suits on and they're not really doing anything other than bureaucracy. We are the representatives of truth and justice and good in the world. And it's our duty and our responsibility to be those shining examples, to counter the darkness, to counter the evil forces in the world. It's like every time an ugly, evil voice starts to yap, it's like it needs to be countered with good and positive and love, and give them a little kiss. Because I think as more and more and more and more people start waking up and finding the love within their hearts, those around them, their family, their friends, are also going to be like, "Hey, what's up with Joe? Why is he so happy all of a sudden? How come he's got a spring in his step and I'm so depressed all the time?" Well, let's look at Joe's life and see what he's involved in and what he's doing in his thought process and his mentality, and let's emulate that, and let's cut out some of the cancers and the way that these other people think, right? And that just that hopelessness and that false assumption that we're nothing but meat bags on a spinning rock in the cosmos. Like, we're so much more than that. We're all sparks of the divine. It's about time that we allow that spark to grow now into a full blown flame of goodness and love and truth and freedom in the world, and camaraderie and togetherness. You know, there's a lot of talk right now of inclusivity and inclusive this and inclusive that and equity this and equity that. I don't think a lot of these people really understand what those words mean. If they did, they wouldn't be so hung up on their differences, and how we wouldn't be focused on what makes us different. We'd be focused on what makes us the same. Focus on the common goals that we have and the common um, underlying tone that we want to promote in the world, which is one of of optimism and love and positivity and togetherness. That's what it is to be inclusive. That's what it is to be equitable. It's giving people what they need, not just a blanket. Let's just call it equality and we'll just give everyone the bare minimum, right? No, some people need more than others. Some people need more hand-holding than others. Some people need more money than others. Some people have bigger families. Some people have more severe health concerns. Um, we don't need to get into the whole social welfare part of all this. I don't think that's appropriate for this particular conversation. But I just wanted to end this Good News Tidbits, since we had a couple extra minutes, to really reaffirm my stance, and hopefully it's bolstering your stance as well, that we are those representatives of truth in the world and love. And we have to be the best shining examples of that we can be. Because otherwise, when it comes time to face adversity, we won't be steadfast the way that we need to be, and we won't be able to tackle those evils in the world as efficiently and as swiftly as we could or should. So I will end it there. Thank you so much for watching. Again, a shorter episode today. I'm sure you don't mind that. But join me again next time. I'm behind a little bit this go around, so we're going to go right into the August Absurdity Observers, being that I'm recording this on August the 8th. July is done now. We've done Absurdity Observer and Good News Tidbits for July. Now we're going to go straight into August. Join me for that. There's a little bit more to dissect. Hopefully, I haven't looked at the paper too closely yet, but hopefully there's more good news for us to explore that'll last a little bit more than 10 minutes this time. And I also, like I said at the beginning, I would love to have an episode dedicated solely to Bev McDonald's work, because I think as an author, as a writer, she just does some fantastic work, and I would love to give her a spotlight to shine on her amazing writing. Such uplifting stuff. When you read this, it's like, you kind of have a big sigh at the end of it, and you're like, yeah, she's right. She's right. It is possible still. Let's not get down. Let's just do what we can, and let's see things the way that they are, not based on our insecurities or on our fears, but truthfully, objectively, how things actually are, putting aside all the euphemisms. And let's take a good, cold, hard look at ourselves and at the world and at each other. Let's be honest about the change that we need to bring. So when I read her articles, I just feel so motivated and uplifted after that. I just want to shout it from the rooftop. I just want to yell, and I want to shake people and be like, read this article. Trust me, you'll feel so much better after you do. So I would love to just do one episode. I'm going to go through all of my papers. I'm going to find every single article you wrote, Bev, and I'm going to give you the proper exposure that you deserve. I mean, obviously, you're making your way into Druthers. That's huge. And I don't have this big following and a huge YouTube channel or anything, but I'd like to do what I can to at least promote your work and to get it out there and share it with as many people as possible, because I think it's very much worthy and it's very much needed in today's world. So, and again, thanks for watching. We appreciate your viewership so much. And join me again next time, where we will continue reading Druthers. We'll look at all the absurd, crazy things going on in the world, and we'll follow that up with the good news. There's lots of it.